Jamaica is about to be hit by what could become one of the most powerful hurricanes in the island's history. I want to put that in perspective. To date, the strongest hurricane to hit Jamaica was Hurricane Gilbert. That was back in 1988. Now, it made landfall as a strong Category 3 hurricane. It killed 45 people and caused over $700 million in damage. And now, with the National Hurricane Center's 5 p.m. Saturday update, Melissa is a Category 1 hurricane, winds 90 miles per hour, and it's sitting about 130 miles southeast of Kingston, Jamaica. Now, this storm is barely moving. It's sitting over water, 87 to 89 degrees Fahrenheit. It's feeding on fuel that is going to propel this thing to either a Category 4 or potentially a Category 5 hurricane, all within the next couple of days. In fact, it's possible it could even happen by Sunday evening. Now, the island's terrain makes it even worse. Jamaica's mountains force the air to rise, and that creates more rain. So we're talking a total of 15 to 30 inches spread across the island, a few spots over 40 inches of rain. You add to that the storm surge 7 to 12 feet, and the winds. We haven't even talked about the winds yet. They could be gusting on the island as it makes landfall between 120 and 140 miles per hour. So now is the time for anyone on the island to seek shelter and higher ground immediately. This will disrupt vacationers and cruise ship travel, but more importantly, it's expected to bring catastrophic impacts to the residents of the island, especially in the western part where it's expected to make landfall.
Greetings everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel once again, and if it's the first time that you're coming across my content, I will kindly request that you hit the like, subscribe and the share button. And to my returning subscribers, I would also like to thank you and still encourage you to interact with this video through liking, commenting and sharing. And well, in today's episode we are seeing the current situation in Jamaica, whereby we are seeing Hurricane Melissa, which is building up, that is around the southeast part of Jamaica near Kingston, is causing panic among the Jamaican people. Kindly watch the rest of this episode as I come with my commentary at the end of the
Beer rain, my people in Kingston, Jamaica. Beer rain. Lightning all across. Oh, you hear that? You hear that, my people? You think that's what me, man? A beer rain of fall out here. Yo!
You see there's a plane coming in now, about to land, but tonight should be the last flight before they close. We don't anticipate them being open tomorrow. To get my little last dip in the ocean before it's too late. And I'll see you guys soon.
Every few decades, Jamaica faces a storm so powerful that it defines an entire generation. And when you really look at the records, something strange starts to emerge. A pattern that seems to stretch across time. Hurricane Charlie struck Jamaica in 1951. Hurricane Gilbert hit in 1988. Now, 37 years later, in 2025, people are watching the horizon, wondering, is history about to repeat itself? But to understand this mystery, we have to go back, way back, to the early 1900s. Historical records show that between 1912 and 1915, Jamaica was battered by several storms, including the 1915 hurricane, which caused widespread damage across the island's southern coast. Though documentation was limited back then, this storm set the stage for what would later appear as a strange, recurring timeline, one that seems to echo every 37 years. Then came Hurricane Charlie in August 1951. It tore through Jamaica with winds of over 125 miles per hour. Charlie was no ordinary hurricane. It was a Category 4 monster that carved a path of destruction from the east to the west. Nearly every parish was affected. Thousands of homes were destroyed, and many rural communities were completely wiped out. In Kingston, roofs flew off like paper, power lines snapped, and food shortages followed for months. The agricultural sector, especially the banana and the sugar industries, took a devastating hit. Charlie left behind over 150 deaths in Jamaica and caused damage valued at tens of millions of pounds, an enormous sum for that time. But as always, Jamaicans rebuilt. From the ashes of Charlie came stronger housing designs, better emergency communication systems, and a growing awareness that preparedness was key to survival. Then came 1988, and with it, a storm that would forever be etched in Jamaican memory: Hurricane Gilbert.
September the 12th, 1988, has gone down in the annals of Jamaica's history. Most parishes suffered in one way or another from the effects of the hurricane, and Joylene Griffiths reports on hurricane damage in 3 parishes, beginning with St. Thomas.
I never experienced this before in my whole life. And it seemed like I was working over the river there. And when I come back, I leave the 2 kids at home. And this breeze began to blow, and we rush inside to take care of the kids. And my baby mother, she come right away and tell me that I must come and get some shelter inside the house. And when we rush inside, next bedroom, next door, all of them have to go under the bed. And by we under the bed, it's like the whole roof come off, blow off.
Winston Bryden is one of the many people in St. Thomas who lost the house and property. The Princess Margaret Hospital is a place for medical attention, but from these pictures, this hospital is also in need of help. The police station was also robbed of a roof, and when the hurricane raged, the jailhouse was used as a place of refuge.
Of relief. I haven't been able to get to some of the villages yet. Some I'll have to use helicopter because there are now cut off complete from the rest of the villages.
There was one boy who was killed in a church where the top collapsed, and his mother got damaged.
Why Gilbert? Well, Gilbert, you're gone. No, we can chat behind your back. Why Gilbert? Want to come in my room? We sweep out song with me broom. The liquor dog love to see such fun, and the bitch run away with. Come now.
Gilbert made landfall on September 12, 1988. And by the time it reached Jamaica, it had strengthened into a Category 5 hurricane, one of the most powerful storms ever recorded in the Caribbean. The eye of Gilbert crossed Jamaica from east to west, destroying nearly 80% of homes on the island and flattening banana plantations and coconut groves that had taken decades to grow. Winds exceeded 130 miles per hour, and for the first time in modern history, Jamaica went completely dark. No electricity, no communication, and no way to call for help. Yet even in that chaos, there was unity. Neighbors shared food and water. Families cooked on coal stoves together. Communities came together to rebuild what was lost. Out of destruction came strength, the Jamaican way. Now, here we are in 2025, 37 years after Gilbert, and just like in the years leading up to those other historic storms, the Atlantic is heating up again. Meteorologists have noted unusually warm ocean temperatures, one of the key ingredients for stronger hurricanes. The name Melissa has already emerged as one to watch in this year's hurricane season, sparking talk across Jamaica about the island's strange 37-year storm cycle. So, is it coincidence? or something more? Scientists argue that there is no solid evidence of an exact 37-year cycle in the Caribbean. Hurricanes depend on climate factors like El Nino and La Nina and changes in sea surface temperature, not on time intervals. Yet there's no denying the eerie historical rhythm. 1915, 1951, 1988, and now 2025. What makes this story even more interesting is how each storm has changed Jamaica's history. Charlie inspired the modernization of weather forecasting in the Caribbean. Gilbert transformed how Jamaica handled disaster response, leading to the creation of agencies like ODPEM, the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management. And today, as we watch the Atlantic more closely than ever before, we can thank those painful lessons for the preparedness we now have. But if history has taught us anything, it's that Jamaica always rises. No storm, no matter how fierce, has ever broken the island's spirit. From Charlie to Gilbert, every generation has faced its hurricane, rebuilt its homes, and kept its faith. And if another great storm comes in 2025, it will only remind the world once again that Jamaica may bend, but it never breaks. So whether or not this 37-year cycle is real, one thing is for certain: the strength of the Jamaican people is the most powerful force on the island.
A free bread? A free bread? A free bread? A free bread? I must free bread. No yet. I'm going to see the storm come tomorrow. Bread one, bread one. A free bread? A free bread? A free bread? A free bread? I must free bread. No yet. I'm going to see the storm come tomorrow.
You can just make out the mountains around Kingston, Jamaica behind me, where the rain from Melissa is starting to fall. And even as the storm gets closer, which you see behind me, all these trucks down here are carrying out, trying to dig out debris from these gullies. These are the gullies that are supposed to carry all of this rainfall. Could be a couple of feet out of the mountains and out to the ocean, but the concern is because of all of the buildup that has been down here for years, that the gullies could be overwhelmed, that it could overflow the walls into these neighborhoods, that it could even potentially compromise this bridge, the roadway that we're standing on, which is a major thoroughfare between the western and the eastern part of the island.
Jamaica people, good morning. Imagine, morning no light out good yet, just after 6. And look the condition of the corporate area, Cooper halfway tree everywhere flood out. I remember say Hurricane Melissa no reach ya yet. What a shame and disgrace in the Jamaica Labour Party, Imagine me reach out to my councillor this morning. My councillor said no money no did there. The Jamaica Labour Party, Desmond Mackenzie, we control local government, have not dispersed the funds to give the local authorities. The municipal corporations have been stifled under this Jamaica Labour Party government. Can you imagine? The hurricane will reach yet, and go halfway tree. Look the condition of our corporate area, Jamaica. What a shame and disgrace in Jamaica.
So, you buy the food from Thursday, today is Saturday, and the food done already. The food done already, and the hurricane will reach. So when this by the time the hurricane reach, you don't have no food left. So when this thing reach, and if you buy 11 days of food and 2 days and the food done.
So the fact that Fox News fly down a Jamaica for report on this storm we are come, it make me a think twice, you know. The fact that Fox News say only need to leave the island. Somebody don't want me to also leave the island and go away. I go Cuba. A week. The man say, where are the people to me? No, put fun and joke aside still. Me is a hard believe in Thomas when it comes to storms, to hurricane. Because I have only lived through a few major storms and a few major hurricanes. And all of them never really impact Jamaica as much as Gilbert. Right? So, me is a hard believe in Thomas, which is understandably so. But the fact that Fox News fly down from America, come to Jamaica, you have to really wonder if it's a storm or if there's something where they know about, you know. Because me hear say, Donald Trump threw something in the water there in the Caribbean water, you know. And my mother surmise and theorize and, the old people, all them say, or them have a conspiracy theory, say something like that I go reach you, you know. So me I wonder if we not go leave the island for true. Because maybe I know a regular storm I go eat. But me see the people that, hey, Jamaicans are taking nothing serious, you know. You see people that be there comment section of the video and say, hey, we look good on TV. Now which matter Jamaica is correct. People don't know for this that post there. And people them say, I offer treat that, but wait. Somebody comment and say, but wait, Crossroad which I find before me. Say, Jamaicans, you guys are so unserious. I love you guys. I love my people. I love you guys. I swear to God. I really pray for everyone's safety. I hope that this storm just passes and without any major impact like it usually happens. But make sure someone buy up on a bread and on a canned beef and on a flash life and on a candle. Anyways, love you guys. Bye.
Emergency.
Hold on, where?
Emergency entrance. Almost black. Fence steer on. The bubble fan is no girl around there.
Come look on in our.
Hey, I'm the fence around there. People in Japan and then no. Alright. One ball in Japan.
Hear them, man?
Well, I just saw the latest update and Jano. I am sad for us. I am sad for our people. I am sad and scared for the people of Clarendon. Yo, I'm sad. It's a Cat 5. That's what they're predicting now. They're predicting a Cat 5. I think it's even gone up to a Cat 2 already. I'm not come on the internet and cry, but I feel like crying. Jamaica land we love. Rough. This rough.
Here are the 3 reasons why Hurricane Melissa may be more destructive to Jamaica than any hurricane has ever been before. I'm meteorologist Todd Gross, and it's time to take this very, very seriously. Reason number 1, the slow movement of this storm. There's very weak steering currents, and normally that would cause the storm to not be able to strengthen that fast. But because the water is so warm, even if there's upwelling that occurs, in other words, some of the cooler water from below coming up because the storm's just sitting there, that's so warm even below right now that it's going to fuel this storm. And the slow movement means that Jamaica will be under rain and wind, but especially rain, for many, many days. How much rain? Well, I'm focusing in on the east end of the island. That's where it's most likely to be worst in terms of the heavy rainfall and the landslides. Not just because of the mountains being there. That's an added factor. But this purple area is 20 to 30 inches of rain with locally higher amounts. And that rain has to go somewhere. After the landslides and the rain occurs with the flooding of the rivers, that of course eventually makes its way down towards the coastline. And this is going to be a calamity in itself That is the landslides from all the rain. The second reason is the track. If it really does move just to the west of Kingston, let me show you what that looks like on the map. From a coastal flooding point of view, if the storm center stays to the east of Kingston, Kingston will be on the weaker side of the storm and will have less coastal flooding. If the storm is over Kingston or just to the west, what will happen is the winds will come out of the south as the storm moves this direction from southwest to northeast. And that will bring all the water up into the bay. And notice the shape of the bay. It is just perfectly sitting for a massive storm surge of water, which will cause a massive amount of flooding if the track does that exact path. If it's a little farther to the east, over the most eastern part of the island, then Kingston will be slightly spared. Third reason is the timing of the strengthening. It's barely a hurricane today when I'm recording this Saturday afternoon. By tomorrow, Sunday, it should be up to Category 3 and may even reach Category 4 just as it reaches Jamaica. That's the opposite of what happened with Beryl last year. With Beryl, remember, I indicated that it would weaken by the time it got to you, and it did. Now, this time, it looks like it's going to strengthen suddenly at the very worst possible time. And that's the issue, is that it will be a Cat 4 upon arrival and in the strengthening phase, and that is not good. Now, with all that in mind, from the National Hurricane Center, this is what they're calling for Jamaica. This will likely cause catastrophic flash flooding, numerous landslides, extensive infrastructural damage, long-duration power and communication outages, and potentially prolonged isolation of communities, plus a life-threatening storm surge is also likely along portions of the southern coast early next week. And in their internal discussion, they talk about this potentially being a Category 5 storm. They also talk about this being the worst potential storm ever in terms of a hurricane to hit Jamaica, and the island needs to be ready for that, especially the eastern half of the island. Looks like right now is where it's going to bear the brunt. Now, there is a way, as I said, that this could be less of a storm. There is a possibility of the storm hitting just the very east tip of the island. The whole island would be affected, but the worst of the storm hitting the very east tip. There is that slight chance, and that's something you could hold on to and cross your fingers about. But other than that, we don't have very much good news here because of this rainfall that's going to go on for days and cause all those landslides and the flash flooding. That, at the very least, is going to be devastating. Never mind the wind damage and never mind the storm surge. That's something else just on top of that. I hope this helps. I'm meteorologist Todd Gross. It's time, of course, to take this very seriously and complete all preparations now before the storm moves in starting Sunday.
Residents of Southeast St. Catherine, this is your Member of Parliament, Dr. Alfred Dawes speaking. Hurricane Melissa is no joke. We have never in Jamaica experienced a storm of this nature. It is slow moving. It is moving directly across the island. It is expected to dump feet, not just inches, feet of rain over the next 3 days. We're going to get hurricane-type winds. We don't know if it's Category 4 or Category 5. That may be the difference between getting hit by a car or hit by a bus. But if it happens continuously over Monday night into Tuesday morning, we're going to have serious wind damage. We're also expected to have significant storm surges. A storm surge is pretty much when the sea comes in. It's like a tsunami. Low-lying coastal areas, like right here in Southeast St. Catherine, are at high risk. It doesn't matter if your drains are clean. It doesn't matter if it was a flood-prone area before. The storm can produce an elevation in the level of the sea that can cover your house. This can happen very quickly, and this is why the advice is, even though it is not mandatory as yet, do not wait until it is so. Move to a shelter if possible. The Portmore Heart Academy is the nearest designated shelter, and if it is that things get really bad, we will have JUTC buses on standby to take you outside of the municipality to the National Arena or one of the other shelters within Kingston. This is no joke. Protect your family, protect your valuables. If you opt not to move immediately, put everything in a suitcase or a bag that you can just grab and run. Remember, this is not an ordinary storm. Be prepared, please.
Well, with the current rising news, we are seeing that Jamaica is about to face one of the most horrible disasters that has ever happened in its history. And putting into consideration the strategic position that the Jamaican island is located, it is more prone to experiencing these natural phenomena, or let's say natural disasters that have caused havoc to the country. And in the latest happening, we are seeing again that Hurricane Melissa, which is building speed up, that is at the southeast coast of the island, is slowly but surely becoming a threat to the Jamaican island. And according to recent reports, we are seeing that the hurricane has currently grown to a grade 4, meaning that it's moving at a current distance of 225 kilometer per hour, and it's slowly gaining momentum as it is moving towards the island. This has caused the Jamaican government to announce a state of emergency, with 650 emergency centers being already created by the Jamaican government as a way to mitigate and respond to the possible damage that is going to be caused by this Hurricane Melissa. And the concern right now is mainly being placed at those parishes located at the coastline level of the Jamaican island. That is parishes like the Kingston Parish, St. Catherine Parish, among others. And you're noticing that in these areas, they are more prone to floods as the hurricane is moving closer and closer to the island. And this news has caused a lot of panic to the Jamaican people. As you've seen in the previous clips, you've seen that most Jamaicans are rushing to the supermarkets and other shopping mall centers to buy food in bulk as a way of preparing for this upcoming disaster. And you're seeing most of them scrambling to buy bread for their families and other food products that will generally help them outlast these incoming disasters. And again, given the geographical position and nature of Jamaica, we're seeing that Jamaica is mainly composed of hills and low-lying areas, and this makes it more prone to these hurricane, as the low-lying areas are more prone to flash floods. As we notice that Hurricane Melissa, even though the center of it hasn't reached the island, some of the parishes have already began receiving heavy rainfall, and this has led to flash floods. And we are seeing also the destruction of important infrastructure like power lines, roads, among other necessary basic infrastructures that are necessary for the survival of the Jamaican people. And in the response, again, we are seeing the Jamaican government coming in to warn its citizens about the possible dangers that may be arising with this incoming danger. As for the Hurricane Melissa, it is estimated that maybe in the next 2 to 3 days it will be hitting the island based on the trajectory that it's currently moving out. And according to several meteorological departments, we are seeing that the hurricane is moving slower, gaining momentum, with the strong winds being also experienced by some of the closer islands around the Caribbean region. Not only Jamaica will be affected with this Hurricane Melissa, also seeing that the neighboring countries like Guyana will also have some impact from this Hurricane Melissa. But based on the meteorological prediction, Jamaica is one of the islands that will be most hit by this Hurricane Melissa. And despite of the surety of this oncoming disaster, we are seeing that some of the Jamaicans are still hopeful and are also taking necessary measures to overcome these impeding natural disasters. We are seeing some of the Jamaicans reinforcing their houses with plyboards to avoid the rain from entering into the house. Some are also reinforcing the houses to avoid being carried away by the floods. And this is a positive measure towards preparing for this incoming danger. Other than the floods, we are seeing again the strong winds becoming a possible threat and danger to most of the Jamaicans, as we are seeing them affecting mostly the power lines which are falling down. And as you all understand, when a power line comes into contact with moving water, it's very easy for an individual to be electrocuted without their movement. And so the Jamaican government, to avoid this kind of accident, is encouraging most of the Jamaicans to stay indoors, and those located in the lower regions of the island to move to the upper region or to the 650 centers that have been provided by the government to ensure that not a single Jamaican individual loses their life to this impending danger. And on the online space, you're seeing not every Jamaica is taking the news as seriously as it should, despite of the fact that you've seen others panicking, especially individuals who only came to visit the country. As you all understand now that most of the flights coming out of the country have been put on hold by the Jamaican government due to the necessary risks that the hurricane poses to incoming flights or outgoing flights. And you've seen that these individuals have been forced to get stuck in the country, and you've seen in the videos them coming out to show their worries and danger, despite of the fact of their security being assured by the Jamaican government. While for other Jamaicans, we are seeing them coming out to try and make fun of the situation. Well, you understand that this is a psychological way of trying to minimize this stressful situation by trying to making it look fun, and also sharing fun comments and fun ideas about this, with most of them trying to show that the situation is not as serious as some of the Jamaicans have taken it. But going back to history, we all learned that this is not the first hurricane that has hit Jamaica, and there's actually been a constant pattern of these natural disasters like the hurricane hitting the Jamaican island, let's say within a span of 27 years. And with the worst epidemic happening in the year 1948, that is, if I'm right, and this was one of the worst pandemics that happened, when you get to see a hurricane disaster happening and multiple Jamaicans got to lost their lives and massive properties were also lost during this disastrous event. And with having these memories at the back of their mind, you are seeing that some of the Jamaicans still have that trauma from that previous hurricane experiences that the island has experienced in the years. And you notice that from the time that this happened for the first time in Jamaica, it took a very long time for Jamaica to rebuild the country and get it back to where it is today. And with the incoming Hurricane Melissa, it's only a matter of time before we get to see the extent of the damage that it is going to make to the Jamaican people. Lastly, my hopes and prayers are with the Jamaican people, and I really hope that they get to successfully get through this challenging moment, as we all understand the devastating effects, not only physically but mentally, that these natural disasters have on individuals. And this again marks the end of this episode. Thank you once again, and see you in the next one.